Hello everyone! Just a heads up, as the title says, the content in this video will cover the Warlords of Draenor Beta. That means spoilers ahead, so if you don't want any spoilers, please turn off the video. Last week, I decided to end my week-long beta stream with trying to find out how long it takes to level from 90 till 100. I ended up with around 12 hours and 30 minutes, and that's with the Tanan jungle introduction, a couple of deaths, a couple of beta bugs, and fighting over mobs. Alex from Fatboss did a similar thing just the night before, and he was able to do it in around 11 hours and 30 minutes. So I would say that someone who skips reading the quest will look at around 12 hours of leveling experience. I'll cover the story in each zone in a more detailed video, probably when the game is live, since not all the cinematics and details have been added yet. The global story is the following. You start your adventure on Draenor in the Tanan jungle, where the Alliance and Horde they team up to disconnect the Dark Portal and get the hell out of there. You're in the middle of the Iron Horde army, you'll be introduced with all the different clans, and it's a very linear, structured and cool experience. At the Tanan jungle, the Horde and Alliance split up. The Horde moves to Frostfire Ridge, where you team up with the Frostwolf clan and you work towards making the area safe for the clan to live in. You kick the ogres out of their Blazespire citadel to make it the capital city for the Frostwolves, and you fight the Thunderlord clan who are trying to kill everybody. A side story of this zone is that Gul'dan, together with Talador and Cho'Gall, they're on a mission of causing havoc together with the Burning Legion. We were the ones who actually liberated Gul'dan and disconnected him from the Dark Portal, and we did this in order to shut the portal down, but now we've created this big bad that we'll hopefully see later on in the expansion. The Alliance moves to Shadowmoon Valley, where you team up with Velen and the Draenei, and you work towards making the area safe for the Draenei to live in. Velen sees a vision in which Ner'zhul and the Iron Horde they kill all the Draenei and they take Karabor. He sacrificed himself to prevent that future from ever happening, and you secure Karabor to make it the capital city for the Draenei. A side story of this zone is that Gul'dan, together with Talador and Cho'Gall, they're on a mission of causing havoc together with the Burning Legion.
Your soul shall suffer!
After this introduction zone, both the Alliance and Horde they follow the same zones again, and you pick up around 2 levels each zone. Gorgrond is an area that, in my opinion, feels really disconnected from the main story. And it's possible that I feel this way since there's still a scenario to be added before you do this zone. You go in and you either team up with the Laughing Skull clan if you're Horde, or you keep on partying with the Draenei if you're Alliance. Your mission is to go through Gorgrond to get to the Iron Horde, and you get to build a garrison outpost. This outpost comes with 2 different buffs, and depending on your choice, you either get to party with Rexxar, or you get to send a tree spirit to the moon. This choice in the garrison outpost will happen in each zone. In each zone you get a different buff, and each buff has its own storyline. Besides that, it's fighting a lot of plant people who use the corpses of their victims to feed their young, and you'll be fighting a lot of cat people which don't really seem to have a backstory besides just being there to be killed. Hopefully they'll add more background later, but like I said, it feels disconnected and almost as if the quests aren't completely done yet. Half the zone was unused when I was done, so I did a little bit of exploration. I have seen the Cenarian Circle, so perhaps more will be added later. After Gorgrond comes Talador, home to Shafra City and Akendun. Like I said, there's still a scenario to be added to Shafra, so you're dropped in halfway into the story in which the Iron Horde, led by Orgrim Doomhammer, is grouping up and getting ready for war. You eventually get another scenario in which we find Doomhammer arguing with Blackhand, and Blackhand one-shots Doomhammer. We then take out their massive weapons of destruction, we fight Blackhand for a while, and Blackhand one-shots Marad. We did have a minor victory though, since the weapon it could have destroyed everybody, and Blackhand will see him again as a raid boss in the Black Rock Foundry. Besides that battle and that storyline, we also have corrupted Draenei, we've got Gul'dan, Talador, Shadow Council. They've teamed up with the Burning Legion, and they're trying to use the stored souls of Akendun to power themselves and get more of the Legion onto Draenor. We stopped them, but Talador is not yet defeated. He makes an escape at the end of Akendun dungeon, so we'll probably see him and this demonic force in a future patch. Next up is the Spires of Arak, and I was hyped about this zone. The first time that I played through it, I couldn't praise this zone enough. The lore is fantastic, it finally reveals the details behind the curse of the Arakoa, and it has the mix of different game mechanics that I really enjoy. At some point you even get to embrace the powers of Torok, ancient king of the Arakoa, and you take on Kargav Bladefist. You don't win the battle, since Kargav will be a boss in the High Maul raid. Besides that main questline, where you take on the uncorrupted Arakoa, there's also a bit where you get a hint of something still to come. Admiral Taylor has built his own garrison, but his own troops betray him. They then turn him into this Lord Merogar model, a creature made out of bones, and we get to set his soul free. We don't know exactly who's behind this, but necromancy, demons, dreadlords, it's all going to be part of the story. At least I really hope so, and I really hope that we get to see more of this story in a future patch. Like I said, the first time that I did this zone, I was blown away, and hopefully you will be too. The second time that I did it for actually leveling, it felt like they dragged out the zone. You nearly have to do all the quests to reach level 98, which is not the case in the other zones, and I think that's my main problem with it. Not necessarily that it doesn't have fun mechanics, because it does. It has some fun storytelling, it has some fun events, but just the time spent in Spires was almost double than what I did in the other zones, which was it felt dragged out and it got boring after a while. The final zone for leveling is Nagrand, home to the Warsong clan, and after setting a single toe into the zone, you know things are going to be awesome. A freaking horn greets you and packs of Warsong outriders will just run you over, only to ignore you. Garrosh has been made war chief of the Warsong clan, and he even wields Gorhal again. Last I heard is that he left Gorhal and Azeroth behind, so I can only assume that this was given to him by his father. We take on Garrosh in an epic step-by-step battle, together with either Ural or Duratan, and in the end we finally get to face this so-called prophet. We smack him around for a while until Garrosh is enough, and he stuns us, Thrall shows up and he challenges Garrosh to Mak'gora, a duel to the death. An epic cinematic is supposed to happen. It's not implemented yet, but the aftermath is clear. Garrosh is dead, crushed by a big pile of rocks. The quest explains that Gromar's Hellscream will probably come down with swift retribution, that we might want to take out the ogres who are their allies, while we also still have Gul'dan and his crew that are causing trouble. Another interesting side story in Nagrand is that Cho'Gall has been sent to Nagrand to drain the powers from the Naaru called Khur. We're going in with either Nobundo or Drakvar, and a small cinematic shows that Cho'Gall already has enough of Gul'dan. He has his own powers now. Gul'dan even warns him that the power is corrupting him, but Cho'Gall won't listen. He pushes Gul'dan to the side and he turns the Naaru Khur, the same Naaru that brought the Draenei to Draenor. He turns it into a void god, just like M'Uru in the Sunwell. We try to stop Cho'Gall of course, but we don't reach him in time. Khur is transformed, Cho'Gall escapes, and we're forced to take out Khur. And that's the global story for Warlords of Draenor, at least for the moment. Apparently Tanaan Jungle was supposed to be part of this experience, besides just the introduction bit, but they've decided to move that part to 6.1. Overall, sad to say, I'm not blown away by the story as of yet, but it's also not bad, not by a long shot. I think my main problem with the story is that I'm having a hard time diving into the whole Beyond the Dark Portal situation. That's kind of the story they're aiming for, right? You're stuck on an unknown world and you're forced to stay behind to make sure that the Iron Horde, the Ogres, the Legion, anything else won't be able to reopen the Dark Portal and invade Azeroth again. This is a very cool story, but it's hard to get into when Khadgar is making portals all over the place, more and more reinforcements come in, and you can still just use your Hearthstone to go back to Azeroth. I understand that you need these game mechanics, you always need a way to get out of Draenor, but it kinda kills the illusion and the story that they're trying to tell. Another part that's bugging me is that this is not our Draenor. It's a different reality where things happen differently. A major example is that Rokan, Ner'zhul's mate, is still alive, or for example that the Shadowmoon clan, it embraced the powers of a so-called Darkstar. This never happened in our reality, and Garrosh changing events did not suddenly resurrect Rokan. She was long dead before any of this happened. So it's not just the effect of Garrosh changing things. That means that any information, for example the origin of the Arakoa, it comes with a question mark. We now know the origin story of the Arakoa on this Draenor, but is it the same origin story for our Arakoa? We now know that Argus has been taken over by the Legion, but is it the same for our Argus? With pretty much any new information given from Warlords of Draenor, you'll have to wonder how much it applies to our reality, and in my opinion that kinda sucks. That's not to say that it's all bad, don't get me wrong, there are some pretty damn epic moments, like using the Holy Light to kick some serious orc butt in Shadowmoon Valley, or Ganar kicking some serious orc butt in Frostfire Ridge, or Rexar kicking some serious orc butt in Gorgrond. Those epic moments are great, but it also shines a light on something that was already known. Orcs, orcs, and more orcs. They mix it up a little with ogres and cats and plant people, but overall we're going to be fighting a whole lot of orcs. I compare this to the Shah of Pandaria, where it was nothing but Shah for the introduction experience. I hope they'll quickly step away from it and give the spotlight to different threats and different enemies. We know that the Ogre Empire is going to be a thing. We know that Gul'dan is still out there with the Burning Legion. We know that the Fields of Fedalon is going to be added. Maybe they'll even explain why the Horde and Alliance are fighting again. The story definitely has potential, and I can't wait to find out where it's going to go, and I can't wait to see all the cinematics that still need to be added. I realize that I'm normally a lot more positive about Warcraft and the lore, but sometimes I just need to be realistic, and this was just my impression. Please keep that in mind, that this is just my opinion, and your experience and your opinions might be different. For now, I'm going to end this video and work on the next one, which is going to be about the characters who died in Warlords and what's my opinion about it, because a lot of you ask me like, what do I think about that person dying or that person dying? That's probably going to be the next lore video. So for now, thank you very much for watching everyone. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time guys, see ya!
Our bond is iron, our will unbreakable. Who will stand against us?